It's absolutely crucial that the people making decisions at the municipal level are reflective of the people who actually live and work and raise families in these communities.
If your government doesn't look like you, even to a small extent, it's hard for your issues and your voices to be brought to the table.
We need to be heard. We have issues, we have problems, we have concerns that need to be raised, and we're not going to get those raised if we don't have representation.
My name is Sheila O'Leary, and I'm the Deputy Mayor for the City of St. John's. I had no political science background when I decided to put my hat in the ring. I was a community voice, an activist, a mom, person of Indigenous, mixed Euro-Indigenous background. I had a lot of experience in the community, and I didn't see myself really represented in the municipal government. I recall being encouraged, certainly, by a well-known female leader, Shani Duff. It was mostly just white men who were running the show, and you know what, that's okay, but you need to have diversity, you need to have more inclusive representation at the table, because you need to represent society in its fullness.
My name is Hassan Hai. I live in St. John's, Newfoundland, Labrador. I'm a person of color. I'm South Asian. I'm an immigrant myself. So I try to educate people formally and informally, sort of about anti-racism, the impact of oppression, a lack of diversity and representation. I was a year old when my family moved to Canada, and I grew up in Ottawa. And I recall as a kid, although I wasn't politically inclined in any way here, just you look at faces, you look at media, you look at local government at all levels, and when you don't see yourself, you assume that it's not a place or a space for you. People who are outsiders, who are not part of government right now, are considering going in. This could be kids, this could be young adults. When they don't see someone who looks like them, when they don't see themselves in spaces and places of power, then they often opt out. They say, this isn't a place for me, it's not for me. However, when they see that they are represented, that it is a place for them, suddenly it becomes much more accessible. I remember I took a run at provincial politics, and one of the most meaningful moments of the entire campaign was looking past the cameras and seeing my kids looking at me. And the look that they gave me was that they could see that maybe, I don't care if they ever run for politics themselves, but knowing that someone who looks like them could do it means that suddenly a door that's often closed for people who are marginalized or racialized can be opened.
I was also single parenting, and I actually ran when my third child was 4 years old. So I kind of grabbed him like a football and stuck him under my arm and started campaigning and went out and then became elected. And so he came with me to all those public meetings and all the things that we had to do. It was a real growth experience, but you can't stop living and participating.
People bring so many different things from every different background, every different perspective, every different lived experience that's represented at the table makes us stronger. If there are people who only have one perspective, and this is in any context, whether it's in government or in a business meeting or an organization, if you have people with only one background, you're not really going to get those different perspectives. You're not as strong as a team versus getting all those various perspectives as far as, what does accessibility mean when no one around the table ever has to deal with barriers to accessibility. Bring someone in with that voice or create opportunities for them, and then suddenly they bring their perspective. You can't replicate that. One person can't be all things. Getting those diverse opinions and views around the table is critical to having, a representative government. For people, particularly those of diverse backgrounds, someone has to open the door. Sometimes it'll be open for you, and sometimes you got to kick it down yourself. If you're thinking about running, and I'm not saying that everyone needs to carry the burden and the weight of being the first person from their group who's ever represented, but if you're thinking of running, regardless of what you see or don't see, it is a place for you. So own that, take back that power, put your hand up.